Hi, my name is Ayman Adel. I'm a NetSuite solution consultant at Appficiency, where I work with companies across range of industries to design and implement ERP solutions that actually fit how their business operates. I have been with Efficiency for several years now, and over that time, I had the opportunity to work closely with energy companies, especially in the renewable space, helping them moving away from a disconnected system into a single unified platform that give them real control over their operations and financials. Real financial visibility for an energy company isn't just about seeing the numbers. It's about seeing the right numbers at the right level at the right time. When you are managing hundreds of sites, you need to be able to drill down from a consolidated company wide view all the way down to a single site profitability without creating reports manually or waiting until the end of the month. So, inside a modern ERP like NetSuite, that means every site has its own financial footprint, its own revenue, costs, and consumption data. All of that rolls up automatically into a consolidated picture. So, executives can see the health of the entire portfolio in a real time. Operation managers can see exactly which sites are performing and which ones are bleeding margin. And financial teams aren't chasing data from a spreadsheet. Everything is in one place and updated continuously. That's what real financial visibility looks like. Not a snapshot from the last month, but a live accurate view of the entire operation. The biggest opportunity I see for AI in this space is turning consumption data from something you report on into something you act on. Proactively, not reactively. Right now, most of the energy companies are looking at the consumption data after the fact. When they run the report at the end of the month, they will find which site went beyond the planned consumption. With AI embedded into the ERP, you can shift that entirely. The system can recognize patterns. Think about proactive alert. AI noticing that a site's consumption trend is heading toward a loss threshold before it get there, or automatically identifying which sites are always underperforming and why, or helping finance team model out the impact of consumption variances on monthly results in minutes instead of days. So at the end of the day, the data is already there. AI just make it work harder for you. Planned versus actual consumption is really the heartbeat for energy operations. Everything else flows from it. The way we built this inside NetSuite start with establishing a baseline for what is the expected consumption for each site per period. That planned figure gets logged in and it becomes the benchmark everything is measured against. As the actual consumption data comes in, it mapped directly against that planned at the site level. NetSuite then calculate the variance automatically. That variance isn't just an operation number. It has a direct dollar value attached to it. If a site consumes more than the planned, that extra cost flows immediately into the site's P&L. So you're not just tracking energy, you are tracking the financial impact of every unit of variance for every site in real time. Operation and the financial team can see it, and leadership can see exactly which sites are profitable and which ones need attention, without anyone having to build a custom report to figure it out. The speed is really depends on how the data flows into the system. But when the system is set up correctly, the financial exposure show up almost immediately. If consumption data is being fed in automatically through an integration, you are looking at the near real-time visibility. And if it's a periodic import or a manual process, you are typically seeing it within the same reporting cycle. NetSuite aggregates all of that exposure across all sites at the same time, which is make it powerful at the scale. So financial director doesn't have to go side by side. They can pull up a consolidated view sorted by variance and immediately see which sites are the biggest risk for the portfolio that month. They can see the total financial exposure across all underperforming sites in one number. For a company managing hundreds of sites, that's the difference between managing risk and being surprised by it. Without that centralized view, issues at the individual site can quietly compound for weeks before anyone catch them. But with the right ERP setup, you can catch them early and take action. NetSuite was built as a multi-entity platform from day one. It is not a workaround. Each subsidiary has its own financials, its own currency if needed, and its own statements, but they all live in the same system. On top of that, we map every physical site, every solar firm, every wind asset to its parent subsidiary. So every transaction and every consumption record is tagged correctly and rolls up automatically. What that eliminates is the chaos of managing this across separate systems. Consolidation becomes automatic, and reporting that used to take days becomes a matter of running a report. So, without the proper setup, intercompany transactions are where things go wrong the most quickly. You have subsidiaries charging each other for shared services, management fees, and asset transfer. However, without an automated system, you end up with manual journal entries and mismatched balances and consolidation errors that unknown you at the end of each month. The elimination process is the most common breakdown that I observe. When you consolidate financials across subsidiaries, intercompany revenue and expenses must be balanced out. If those transactions are not accurately tracked and tagged throughout the months, the elimination process becomes the manual nightmare that is prone to errors. What efficiency brings to that is structured implementation approach. We make sure that intercompany framework is set up correctly from day one. The right accounts, the right automation rules, and the right elimination logic. We also help the client build workflows that enforce consistency. So transactions are recorded the same way across every subsidiary. That result in a consolidation process that runs cleanly with minimal manual intervention and clear audit trail. All of it starts with data integrity. You cannot report accurately on what you cannot track accurately. When consumption data is captured frequently in NetSuite, by site, by energy source, and by period, it becomes one source of truth. You are not pulling numbers from three different systems and hoping they match. And there is a full audit trail. Every entry, every adjustment is logged and trackable. So when regulatory filling or ESG report goes out, the team can stand behind every number. That kind of transparency is very hard to achieve when your data is distributed across different tools. The one capability I would tell any renewable energy company to test for is true operational to financial integration at the site level, not just the company level. Most of the ERP vendors can consolidate financials. That's table stakes. What most of them cannot do accurately is to connect operation data like consumption, production, variance direct to the financial outcome at the scale of a single site or asset. That connection is where the real value lives. When you are evaluating vendors, ask them to show you if one site goes 10% over the planned consumption. Where does that show up in the financials? How fast? And what level of details? Can you see this by site, by subsidiary, and rolls up across the whole portfolio? That's the test most of the ERP vendors will struggle to answer it professionally. What efficiency brings to the table, not just NetSuite, it's the expertise to configure NetSuite specifically for how energy companies operate. We have built industry-specific framework for consumption tracking, multi-subsidiary structure, and sustainability reports. Our implementation expertise is what transforms a patent platform into a solution that truly works for your company.